You know, when you think of Paris, you picture the Eiffel Tower, the romance, the art. It's the city of dreams, right? But what if I told you that behind all that beauty, hidden in plain sight, there's a much, much darker story unfolding? Today, we're going to pull back that curtain of glamour and expose a hidden world of exploitation.
Yeah, we've all seen the movies. Paris is sold to us as this beacon of hope and opportunity. But what happens when you get there? And look a little closer. What happens when that beautiful dream starts to crack, and the city of love feels more like a cage? Well, tucked away in thousands of beauty salons across the city, a really tough story is playing out every single day. We're going to dig into the true cost of the Parisian dream for hundreds of Nepali women who are caught in a system that's designed to prey on their hopes.
So, you might be asking, how does a cycle of exploitation like this even get started? Well, it all begins with a waiting game, a period of total legal limbo that honestly creates the perfect trap, and it's a game that most people just can't afford to win.
Okay, here it is. The absolute core of the problem. A 6-month ban on working for anyone who's seeking asylum. I mean, just think about that for a second. You're in a new country, you have no income, and there is no legal way to support yourself. Not to mention, you probably have debts back home. This isn't just a rule, it's a perfect recipe for desperation.
And for these women, many of whom took out huge loans to get to France in the first place, waiting 6 months? It's just not an option. It's impossible. With those debts hanging over their heads and just day-to-day survival on the line, the only choice is to find work, any work, legal or not. And that right there, that desperation, that is the foundation this entire system of exploitation is built on.
So how exactly is this vulnerability, this desperation, turned into a full-blown system? Well, let's break down the mechanics of it all. Let's follow the money, number by number, and see exactly how this works.
So the journey into this trap starts with this really cruel twist. When they first find a job, newcomers are told they have to volunteer for weeks, working full-time with zero pay, all under the guise of learning the job. Only after that do they start getting a wage, and it's just a fraction of what's legal. And to top it all off, a broker takes a huge cut from that tiny amount for commission.
Get this. In France, the legal work week is 35 hours. These women are working nearly double that. We're talking about 60 hours a week. That's 10 in the morning until 9 at night, 6 days a week. It's absolutely grueling, it's relentless, and it's completely illegal.
And for all those hours, for all that work, this is what they earn on average before any commissions are taken out. About 800 euros a month. Just let that number sink in for working 60-hour weeks in one of the most expensive cities on the planet.
And here's what that 800 euros looks like in reality. The legal minimum wage in France is over 1,700 euros a month. That means these women are making less than half of what they are legally entitled to. This isn't just about being underpaid. This is blatant, illegal theft of wages.
Oh, but the bleeding doesn't stop there. Of that already tiny 800 euros, another huge chunk is immediately snatched away. A broker, the person who connected them to the salon, can take a commission of anywhere from 200 to 400 euros. So think about it. After working nearly 240 hours in a month, a woman might only walk away with 400 or 500 euros. It's just unbelievable.
As you can probably guess, this whole operation is running under the table, which means there's this constant looming threat of being discovered by the police. And that leads to a daily life filled with fear and a very specific, well-rehearsed performance.
The order comes out of nowhere, whispered urgently. Drop your tools and act like a client. That's the signal that an inspector or police officer is nearby. And in a split second, the whole salon turns into a stage. Workers become customers. They'll grab a magazine, pretend to scroll on their phones, anything to avoid being caught. It's this constant high-stakes deception just to survive the day.
So why would anyone put up with these conditions for so long? The answer, and this is maybe the most cynical part of this whole thing, lies in the promise of a legal future. A promise that gets turned into the ultimate tool of control.
You see, in France, there's a pathway to getting legal status if you can prove you've worked there for 5 straight years. But here's the catch, a huge catch. You need your employer's full cooperation to apply. So this creates this grueling, multi-year trap where a worker becomes completely dependent on the very person who is exploiting them.
And that's the key right there. The employers weaponize this 5-year rule. They dangle the promise of helping with legal papers as a way to keep these women trapped for years, working in horrible conditions for next to no pay.
It's basically a modern form of bonded labor, and it's all built on a single piece of paper and the hope that comes with it. Now, it's really important to understand that this is so much bigger than just a few bad salon owners. This is a hidden social crisis. It's a network that stretches across continents, profiting from desperation, and it carries enormous risks for absolutely everyone involved.
And the legal stakes? They are incredibly high. For the workers, getting caught could mean massive fines or even prison time. And sure, the employers face penalties too, but for them, the financial incentive of having such cheap, controllable labor is just so powerful that they're willing to take that risk.
So let's just tie it all together. You have this powerful network that starts with brokers in Nepal charging families a fortune for a so-called dream life in Paris. That chain continues with salon owners in France who knowingly exploit that 6-month legal loophole for cheap labor. The entire system is designed to prey on vulnerability, and it creates this vicious cycle of debt and dependency that feels almost impossible to escape.
So it leaves us with this question, doesn't it? When a dream of safety and a better life leads to a nightmare of exploitation, who really bears the cost of these broken promises? When a city's glamorous image is built on the silent, underpaid labor of its most vulnerable people, who is truly paying the price for that dream?